Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. It hasn't been a while. We're back on a regular schedule, but you know what? I missed you guys anyway. So yeah, we're gonna just hop right in. Last week we were working on setting up the UI panel for the UI rendering system. And I kind of left off saying that I was going to do some work off camera to implement the actual rendering side of that. The reason I did that is because I've literally implemented like rendering a quad on the screen like 4 times on camera at this point. So yeah, I just kind of like am doing that again. But yeah, so I did that off camera. I'm gonna go over that code with you guys anyway because I did make a couple of decisions that kind of strayed from what I had originally said in the video. But yeah, so let's just hop right in and I'll show you guys what we're working with. So if I look at the panel system, you guys may remember from last week that I had said we were going to have each panel function kind of as its own batch, right? And then that batch you would just call draw on the panel, and it would like organize all of its child data and like format everything into a 2D render batch thing and send it to the GPU. And then I also mentioned like a potential future in which I also have the ability to just get that batch data from the panel and use it elsewhere. So I actually ended up scrapping this, or I ended up scrapping the former plan there. And so now the only way that the panel functions is that the UI renderer takes that panel and like gets its batch data and renders it. So yeah, I'm gonna go over that now. But essentially, I created you guys may remember I just had like a filler batch that now it just holds data. It doesn't have any functionality. I may in the future add the ability, like add a draw command on the batch so that it'll like create its own VAO if I want to make like do like a one-time render of something. I don't know. But anyway, so the batch basically just holds a bunch of vectors, as well as an optional texture and the vertex and index counts. And that is basically it. So when you go to the get batch method here, it literally just gives its position data, its vertex count, and the texture. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Excuse me. But yeah, so we've got the batch. Come on, brain. I'm losing it today. Today's just not a good brain day. But anyway, so the way that this is working now, the way it's rendering, is inside of the draw panel function. I am getting the batch from the panel, and then I'm setting all of the data just like I did in the renderer 2D flush function. And then just activating the texture, setting the main texture to the slot. So there are eventually going to be 2 textures for each panel. There's going to be a excuse me. There's going to be a panel texture that is like the background texture for the panel. And then there's also going to be a texture atlas of any textures that are used within the children of the panel or elsewhere on the panel. But anyway, so yeah, that's basically all that this is doing. Like I said, this is why I implemented this off screen, is because this rendering part is pretty much the same as what I've done previously. Let's go back to the panel though really quick. So you can see that I've got I actually have some unused functions here, but then I also have the new function. I need to move those to different files. But I've got the new function. It takes all the information that it needs, and then it initializes those vectors, everything. It calculates its transformation matrix, and it sets up all of its positional I'm sorry, all of its vertex data for the panel quad itself, right? So then it returns that panel. So there's no need to like create the panel and then also like tell the panel to organize its shit. Like the panel has its own vertex data always. So yeah, then we have add child. Anytime you add a child to the panel, it's going to get their batch data basically and integrate it into its own batch data. But yeah, and then remove child currently is going to remove the child from the vector of children. It's going to clear the buffer entirely, and then it's going to reload the buffer data. And so that's kind of expensive right now. I'm not super worried about like adding and removing children from panels on the fly right now. That's kind of like the use case for add child and remove, or I mean add child is like we need to add children to the panel. Remove child is like if you're going to like add and remove panels on the fly or items from panels. Not currently planning on doing that, and so I'm not super worried about optimizing this at the moment. Eventually I will come back to it because I think that it'll be nice to have, but it's not a priority at the moment, so it will live on in this to-do comment here. But yeah, and I set up a helper function just to clear the buffer, and also for getting the transform and gathering both the individual panel buffer data, which happens anytime the thing gets cleared, and also the child buffer data. And so essentially, every time you add a child, that child's data will be added into the existing batch data for the panel. And so then, since that happens when you add a child, there's no need during the render loop to set up the batch, like to recalculate all of those things for the batch. That will change at some point, because we'll need to be able to update values in the UI system. So I need to make a note somewhere. We'll just go back to the where all the notes are right now in this file. But yeah, so I will need to make a system for updating batch data for children. And that's in case they update. Like say I have a label here that I want to constantly be outputting my frames per second. I don't want to destroy and recreate that label every time because that's going to be hitting that remove child thing. I don't want to remove the child because that's a very expensive process. So instead, what I really need to be able to do is reload the buffer data. And so that's going to be a thing that I'll probably look into once I am working on font rendering, because text in general is probably going to take a while. What we're going to do today, though, is essentially just create a child element. I want to get a child, some sort of UI, something that implements the UI element trait. I want to have it exist. Like I want to add a child. So let me just show you really quick while we... Wow, that is a very interesting thing that's happening with the colors right now. Yeah, very weird. But anyway, so this old Mandark here is being rendered with the old 2D renderer. This, however, is a panel. And so it is currently being rendered. It's just a little gray square. But essentially my goal for the end of this video is to have a smaller square inside of this panel. And if I move the panel, the square moves with it. That's the goal. So we'll see how that works out. I am going to go ahead and get started though. So first thing we're gonna do is, let me just add another file here. And what do I want to call, like it's just gonna be a box, right? We're just gonna say like base. Or no, this will probably be deleted at some point. You know what? Instead of doing that, why don't I just put it here? So we're gonna do struct base child, and then we're gonna do we're gonna implement UI element for base child, and so then here get data for buffer. Yeah, that looks not quite like what we want to do. Missing structure fields, texture none. We're gonna start with texture none. So yeah, here is the essentially what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do vec let's do it. Let's clean this up a little bit. We're gonna say positions here, text coords, colors, and indices. So let's bring all these in, except this. Whoops, let's do. That's a vec on a vec4. Up here, vec2, vec4, mat4, right? Vec2, vec4. So then we'll do the same thing here. Is it gonna prompt me? It is not. That's fine. So I've been using GitHub Copilot more, and I'm enjoying it so far. Like, it's nice to, it's always interesting to see when it actually does give me like good suggestions, right? What is the issue now? Expected a reference. There we go. Oh, oops. Vec of EU32. That's better. And return value referencing blah 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 blah. Let me do it as positions dot as ref. Return value ref data run by the current function. Okay. In that case, we are going to do something else, which is function new self. And we're going to add this up here. For a trade to be object safe, it needs to allow loading a vtable to allow the call to be what? For a trait to be object safe, it needs to allow building a vtable for the call to be resolvable dynamically. So I don't have. Okay, so in that case, we're gonna say we'll just create the new child, the new function here. That's fine, and then we're just going to say right here, I need positions back on a vec4. There we go, colors and indices. Boom. Oh. I'm so dumb. There we go. Okay, and then in that case, we're gonna do, oops. There we go. Boom. That should be transform, not transform. Okay, and then I'm actually going to go back to, whoops, what did I just do? Hey, that's actually exactly what I wanted to do, which is I want to say, how do I want to do this? You know what? We're going to copy these real quick. Yoink. This is, again, just for being able to use this stuff here. Is going to be positions. It needs to be quad vertices to vec. Does that work? Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not getting any errors, but also feel like I'm missing some shit. Quad text coords to vec. We're gonna say vec. There we go. Look at that. Quad indices dot to vec. Why is this one mad? Oh, there's no, oops. No comma, great, okay. Except here's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna say let positions equal, actually, I'm gonna just go right down here, because I need the exact line that I need is right here. Oh, I need the transform. Okay. How am I gonna return the reference? Because I would really love to have the transform here. Here's an idea. Why don't I do transform as a mat4 and then parent transform saved here as a mat4, right? And so all I need here is the transform as a mat4. Okay, so that gives me the vec4. Oh, that gives me a reference. Fuck. Okay. Here I need position as a vec2, right? Is that how I set this up? I did. And I guess I need not really this. I mean, I'll do the size for this one and the rotation, right? And then here we're gonna say from translation. There we go. It knows me. On uniform scale. Yep, this one needs to be a vec3. Oh, now I need the vec3. Ha ha ha. How about that? There we go. And then, yeah, I need the fucking... size, vec2, and rotation, F32. That looks good. And then position, size, rotation. Parent transform, we're going to set that. Wish I could type. Okay, so we're setting our own transform and the parent transform. Okay. Okay, so I'm... Alright. Positions needs to be that. Except... Okay. This may or may not work, but... Yeah, so that's the identity matrix, so that's fine. Okay. So here. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not have the parent transform saved, which works out because that means that here I am going to say equal map to transforming there. And so then we're going to return positions there expected. Dot as ref, but it won't let me do that. Okay, so here's my question then is down here, I'm setting my position date. I'm not doing any math. Okay. Fucking A. Okay, in that case, I don't want to transform it like that. Yeah, okay. I think ooh. Yeah, see, here's the problem is if I mutate, so these positions are set up such that they are within the coordinate space of the panel itself, right? I'm going to go full cam for this. So these are set up so that they're within the coordinate space of the panel itself, and then the panel needs to get the position data and translate it into... Oh, fucking duh, Anthony. That wasn't even worth going full camera for. Fucking just do it when you get the data back. Don't transform the data at all. Just... There we go. Self.positions. And it's going to be mad because it wants me to use that here. But then instead, now when I go down here, so So that's getting the child data for the buffer. Okay, so now for each of these, I have the position data, and so we're gonna say let positions batch.position data.iterate transform there, and then here we just do positions.asSlice. Right? So in this situation, we get the child buffer data. The child buffer data is gonna be so the child buffer data is within the local space of the panel, and then by multiplying it by the panel's transform, that moves it into world space, and then in the shader it's multiplied by the camera's transform, which gets it into screen space, I think. Yeah, this is definitely one of those situations where like the graphics programming is absolutely a new thing for me. But yeah, that seems like it should work. Are we already at a point of trying to render a thing? Right? Get data for buffer. Why am I... What's angry? Where am I calling get data for buffer otherwise? Ah, let batch. Boom. And now I'm back to the missing documentation message. Okay, I mean, let's go here down to where I'm actually rendering this. Actually, let's come in, use UI renderer star. UI. Yeah, okay. Actually, I think I need to go back here, and we're gonna make this public. We're gonna let child equal UI base child new, and I want to do vec2 new, and I'm gonna give it that, and then the size, I think that's fine. Rotation is fine. I want to set the color to white though. Okay, why is it angry with me? Remove the extra arguments. It's... Oh, I'm sorry. I need to also... No, just need to not give it a thing, because we're not doing a textured version here. Remove the extra arguments still. I'm sorry. Position, size, rotation. Position, size, rotation. Oh, I also added color. What did I set the fucking... Oh, I set the color statically to white. Okay, cool. That's fine. Oops. And then what is the problem here? Associated function new is private. Oh, really? Oops. Cool. Okay, and then we're gonna say panel dot add child of the child. Mismatched. Do I need to do a box? And then a borrow panel is mutable. Okay. So theoretically, this should work, right? We're gonna find out. We're gonna see what happens. I'm expecting errors. Okay, well, I definitely got some kind of error right as it started. But I don't know if... Whoop, what was that? Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna see that. Let's just do that fast. There was a big chunk. Oh, there we go. Big chunk of red. Created shader program. Wow, lots of frames there. Okay. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I mean, that didn't work, which is pretty much what I expected, so it's debugging time, yay! Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, actually. Let's go here. Or actually, I guess it's here. So yeah, I'm gonna do this. So that's not a bad thing to trace, but also panel vertices patch.position data. That's fine. And actually, we're gonna update this to debug. Debug. Oh, and I've already got debug down here. Great. Okay, then I can run it again and see. Here we go. 4 vertices and 6 indices. Okay. Four vertices and 6 indices. That's... Am I not updating the counts? Is it here? Oh, yeah, I'm setting it to 0 fucking vertex counts here. Okay, we're gonna do that. So still no thing. 8 vertices, 12 indices. Okay. So we got the panel vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I've got these indices. Which are identical. Okay. So it's drawing it twice. If I go back here, and I want to see, well, really I want to see the color data more than anything, because I want to see if I've got the gray and then the white. Yeah, panel colors. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the gray, then 1, 2, 3, 4 of the white. Okay. Yeah, so I mean it's My vertex count and my index count are correct. And all of my vertices look fine, although the positions here are a little off, right? The positions really shouldn't line up like that. Yeah, so here's a question, which is, you know what, actually, let's update. Let's go here, and let's say this one should be at 1, 1, right? Which for this should be the top right corner of the box, or like it should start at the top right corner of the box. Still seeing nothing there. And the reason is let me go back here. Actually, instead of doing it like that, let's do it here. So when we add the child, self.get transform. Oh, okay. Where did I add that then? Gather panel buffer data. Those aren't being used, you dummy. Sorry, friends. That explains why the positions are all the same. Because... yeah, let's just do it like that. There we go. Okay, so now if I look at my vertices, then boom, I've got things, right? So then, yeah, so that updated so that the panel vertices are like those numbers look more correct to me, right? But here's the thing though, is that oh, motherfucker. I have to update the index values. Because if I show the indices, I'm doing 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's it. I'm pointing at where OBS is, by the way, in case you guys are wondering why I didn't do this. I did that. Anyway. Okay. I feel better about that, I think. Right? Get data for buffer. Add child. Let's say let indices back on a U32, right? There we go. Batch index data, index plus. That's so close. Or actually, is it vertex count? Is this thing smarter than me? So I need to do 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And then my vertex count is 4, and that's where I need, so it needs to be 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it is vertex count. Fucking, that's crazy. Indices.slice. Okay, well that was, I mean it was there. I should have let it go. So here's our white square. It's not over here. Which means that I have not quite got the positioning math working. But I've got I have a child fucking rendering. That's crazy. So let's cheat a little bit and move that back to 0, 0. And then boom, now I have a child rendering. You can't really see that. Now I've got a child rendering on the thing. So this is the panel, this is the child rendering on top of it, and it's happening in a single draw call. That's awesome. So then I wonder if instead of doing that as a box, if I could just do it as like a generic, maybe. I don't know. That's a thought for another day. I'll come back to that. But yeah, holy shit. Okay. So I've got the child rendering. I need to figure out how to fix the positioning, but if I'm being honest, like I don't even know where to start. Like I need to do a lot of research for this. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna like kill it there, guys. So yeah, we've got a child rendering. So like now theoretically, if I went in, we're gonna actually one more time really quick. Let's say let's do that child 2, and I'm going to change the position slightly, and also change the size. Actually, we'll leave that one. Boom, there we go. And then now if I run, it didn't show up. Maybe it's inside. Oh, I didn't add it. I'm dumb. Let's do this again, except we'll do box new child 2. Boom. Haha, now I've got another child. Boom. Cool. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that would work. I was pretty sure it would work, but I needed to confirm. Anyway, okay, so yeah, I'm gonna leave it off there for this episode, and I'm gonna do a little bit of research on the positioning stuff. I will probably do that on camera, not the research, but I'll probably do the implementation of that on camera. Just so that seems like a thing that people would want to know how to do, right, in a nice video format. But yeah, that like we've got children rendering inside of a panel, technically inside of a panel, not physically within the bounds of the panel yet. Cool. Yeah, that's it for this video. I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye, friends.